You're listening to The Social Workers on WCDB Albany.
Welcome to the Social Workers Radio Talk Show. I'm your co-host, Alyssa Lotmore, and today we're joined with Jonathan Jones. Jonathan Jones is the Commissioner of Recreation, Youth, and Workforce Services for the City of Albany. He has served in that role since January 2014. He is a member of the 2016 class of the Albany Business Review's 40 Under 40. Jonathan is a graduate of the University at Albany, earning both his bachelor's in sociology and his master's in education administration and policy studies. Welcome, Jonathan. Thank you for coming on the show today. So we're going to jump right.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to jump right in. And, this is an interesting time where the coronavirus has flipped a lot of life upside down. And before we talk about all the ways that you and your department are shifting to address the needs of the Albany community during this time, can you provide a little background about your department and the services that you usually provide?
Yeah, so I'm so fortunate to be a commissioner of three unique departments. Recreation is where we manage the playgrounds, the community centers, pools, basketball and tennis courts, gyms and rinks in our city, as well as offer programming for the athletic and social emotional sides of our residents, for our residents. And at the Youth and Workforce Department, we offer our summer youth employment program. That's a 5-week experience for our young kids, 14 to 18, to be exposed to businesses in our city. A youth opportunity office for those young people who have career opportunities that they have yet to really take advantage of at that point, so from schooling. And then the America's Job Centers, where we take residents who are interested in new careers and we provide them with training and exposure opportunities to reach their career goals.
So how has all this shifted? Now, let's move into how things have shifted since the coronavirus outbreak. And I know this is probably a very busy time for you because you just, listed all of the things that your department usually does. So what is the Department of Recreation, Youth, and Workforce Services doing now to help make sure that the needs of the Albany community are still being met?
So the first thing we're doing is we're having our staff stay home, so that we can identify that everyone is healthy, and when we return back to work, what we can actually provide. Our departments are public-facing, and we rely on public engagement in order to offer the services that we do every day. However, the internet has been a great invention, obviously, but it's really helped us in these times to be able to connect to people. For example, a job prep. You can still go on the internet through the Department of Labor's website, and we're working with that to help people get the job coaching that they may need. There's also an opportunity to upskill some of your own skills using Metrics Learning. That's a platform that we have a license for. So we're trying to work with residents who have the internet. However, those who don't have the internet, it's where we're working right now to figure out how do we engage them. Last week, our recreation staff did a social distancing training with the Albany Fire Department to understand when this does burn out, hopefully very soon, how are we going to be able to deliver those quality of life services that people love and enjoy and need, especially during a crisis. And we're working on ways that we can do that and keeping ourselves safe as well as our community.
Now, is there a way that the youth, you mentioned a lot that your department does for the youth. Is there things that are going on right now to assist them during this time, either if it's through your department or other things within the city?
So right now we have suspended all of our youth programs and upheld to the governor's mandate, executive order, to have our staff stay at home during this time.
Of course.
Other than that, the biggest thing we're thinking about is how can we engage young people through social media. That's a place where maybe we can infuse some of the activities we would normally do through social media. So that's what we're planning and thinking about during this week.
And there's so many agencies, I'm assuming, in the city of Albany, too, that you can collaborate with. Everyone's really trying to address the needs of the people and how we can best serve individuals. So it's really good. It seems like through all the collaborations that I know your department's done in the past to really work together with everyone to, make this the best situation that we can.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a time, honestly, where as a human, it doesn't matter where you live, it's affecting our whole globe. And so as humans, and particularly as Albanians, it's going to be very important that our agencies collaborate to get people necessarily the things that they need, first and foremost. But at the same time, there's another element to this that is we've never experienced before. There's a urge to want to get out and do something. There's this isolation from other people. And so we're thinking now, how can we affect the social emotional side of people, particularly our young people who haven't been in school in a few weeks? How will this impact, their attitudes about education? We're working with our school district partners to begin to provide food and help deliver food for a lot of our young people who need schools in order to get a full day's meal. But right now, the biggest piece is really just trying to understand how are we going to work with one another and provide essential services, in the days to come.
Now, is there anything that members of the Albany community can do to support your department during this time? Because I know even some of our social work students here at the university are kind of in this unique place where they still want to be able to help the community that they're a part of. And is there any ways that we can help your department or some of these programs that you were saying, like to deliver food or anything like that we can be involved?
So there's one big way, and this is not what people are looking for, but it is the one way we're going to be able to get to the future. And right now, we have to have people take this serious. We have closed our playgrounds and our courts so that we can stop the spread of this coronavirus, the COVID-19. That way, it's going to allow for our community to stay at home, to wash their hands, and to be safe. Our parks and our trails are still available for people, but we're asking that everyone just stay home for a little while. And if you do happen to get out, get a fresh air, that's understandable, but just please stay at least 6 feet away from each other. This is a territory that we've never, ever been down before. We've never experienced anything like this. I've been commissioner for 6 years, and we weren't necessarily even ready to handle closures at this magnitude. But for our students, the most important thing you can do is right now stay home. But there are ways. If you have a couple extra dollars, maybe you can donate to an organization that meets what you're looking to achieve. And at the end of it, we're going to need people and volunteers soon to call the quarantine. We're not at that point yet, but we're going to need to, call people to make sure they're okay. So my biggest ask to our students is call your senior members of your family, those who are over 70 years old, check on them just to make sure they're okay. And then at the same time, please keep yourself safe. Stay away from large groups of people, particularly more than 10 people, and wash your hands often.
These are really good points, and thank you. And one thing I just want to back up that is you did mention that you shut down the parks. And I know part of your a lot of things you've been doing this year has been building these new parks throughout the city of Albany for kids and families to enjoy. And that, being able to say right now is no, they have to be closed because so many people go out to the park still because kids are home. They're not sure what to do. So that's a big step toward helping to combat this spread.
Yeah, it was a very tough decision, and I have to really give Mayor Sheehan a lot of credit. She met with me several times. We went over what type of impact this can have, but we also understand that our department's facilities, particularly our playgrounds, are in every single neighborhood. And if we didn't close them down, we wouldn't be doing our part to stop the spread. And so by closing our playgrounds, it's our way of stopping the spread. But at the same time, it's also our way of trying to get the message of how serious this is. And again, if I could just stress that everyone, please take this serious. We saw some countries like South Korea take it serious and how fast they've been able to rebound. And we saw the reverse where Italy is now suffering. And so if Albany can take this serious, I think, with the health professionals and leadership we have, I think they're doing a great job of communicating the message, but it's on each of us as a person to take it even more so.
Well, it seems like your department's taking the necessary steps to do what you can to help stop the spread. So is there anything else that you'd like to add for our listeners to know about your department or what you're doing, or even some things, let's end with a more positive, what are some things that we're looking forward to that your department, after we get through the coronavirus outbreak, what are some things that you're looking forward to your department doing for the youth and the community members of the City of Albany?
Well, the one thing we're looking at is we're still going to be modernizing some new playgrounds, particularly in our West Hill and our South End neighborhoods. Those projects will continue. In terms of programming, at this point, we really don't know where we're going to be able to provide programming. A lot of the stuff that we do incorporates a lot of people. Like, for example, we had the Healthy Aging Fair that was catered towards our seniors. We had to postpone that event, and we're unsure when we're going to be able to host it. But the one thing I can tell you is that the mayor has been very clear that our department is just as important as police and fire, in the sense that the work that we're going to do moving forward to either increase the morale of people who've been isolated for so long, or just keep people back in shape, because exercising also has a factor in stopping the spread. And we're going to do our part, but at this point, we're still unsure of what that's going to look like and when that's going to take place.
Well, we're going to have you back on, because I know there's a lot of people who want to be involved. And as soon as we know what we have to do now, and thank you for that message, but we'll definitely have to have you on a little later to sort of capture how we can help, how he can be involved, and what services you're offering for the community that can, help, like you said, help increase the morale, help get people back active and socializing in a safe and healthy way. So I want to thank
Absolutely.
you. Go ahead.
Yeah, the one thing I would end with is when you get on an airplane, there's the message from the staff there that in the case of an emergency, that you put your own mask on first. This is the time where we need to implement that type of strategy in our own selves and in our own homes, is that we take care of ourselves, we stay home as much as possible. And I believe in the health professionals that we have. I believe in the leadership that we have, particularly in our county and in our city and in our state. And I think that, when we get beyond this, we'll be greater for it. But at the same time, health is wealth, and that's most important right now.
Well, thank you for these messages, and thank you for everything that your department's doing to help keep the City of Albany, the community members, safe. So for our listeners, again, this is Jonathan Jones. He's the Commissioner of Recreation, Youth, and Workforce Services for the City of Albany. And I want to thank him again for being a guest today.
Thank you.
You're listening to The Social Workers on WCDB Albany.